Okay, hey everyone, welcome back to the Cranbourne East Secondary College podcast. Today we have me and Mr. Lan as usual.
Everyone.
And also we have a special guest, which is Miss Reid.
Hey everyone.
Okay, welcome. Okay, so just a quick reminder, at the bottom of our YouTube video, we also have a little survey for you to fill out. So that will just help us kind of tailor our podcast towards your desires. So I guess a good way to help us improve our channel is just to fill out the survey, and we can always just go from there. So again, carrying on with the survey, one of your feedback tips was that you wanted more interviews with other teachers just to see what they were kind of like back in high school. And so with that, we actually have our special guest, Miss Reid, here, and we're going to find a little bit more about what she was like in high school. So, Miss Reid, what kind of student were you back in high school?
What kind of student do you think I was, Sam? Mr. Young?
Oh, what kind of student? I'm thinking you were the quite well-behaved student, but always, not always, but like once in a while would try to find that loophole, I guess.
No, I would go with just I was the really good student. I was actually in year 12 voted Miss Goody Two Shoes. I was incredibly good student. I never got a detention. I never did anything wrong.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not getting a detention is actually kind of hard, like surprisingly hard at sometimes. Like at least for me, I reckon.
Yeah, I think it helped that our school was pretty relaxed on a lot of things like uniform and stuff like that. So there was like, unless you were kind of like doing the wrong thing, you were going to be fine. Yeah. So like uniform detentions just didn't exist for me. So I think that's how I got away with no detentions.
That's pretty cool. How about you, Mr. Lan? Did you get into any detentions?
Primary school, I remember I did. Primary school and high school had a very big transition. Primary school was definitely more the loudmouth talking in class one. High school, not so much. Detentions, as a group, yes. Like once, like I was hanging out with some people doing the wrong thing, and I just got grouped in with it. And then afterwards, I was like, okay, yeah, nah, I can't be with these people anymore. Probably year nine, just the one time.
Yeah. That's detentions. Yeah, feel like they really just depend on the school that we're at, I guess. So yeah. Building on that, since you were the given the Goody Two Shoes Awards, did you join in any particular extracurricular activity, or was it like something that you were forced to do, or what? What was the scenario back then?
What do you mean, like extracurricular? Like, how did I get that award? Or
so, like, were you nominated to participate in anything extra, or did you just choose to do any extra stuff?
Yeah, so I think, I don't know, my high schooling experience probably a little bit different. For those of you who don't know, I grew up in the country, like in Maui, and we had very limited opportunities. So I think the most kind of extracurricular for me was, we were a really big sporting school. I'll start with that. So I was always in the school netball team for my age group. Even when I didn't want to be, so that was fun. Yeah, so like there was always like the captain of the school netball team, and she was always like, Danny, you need to play. And I was like, I don't want to. I'm done with this. I'm done. But yeah, I always played netball for the school. And then in VCE, I was school captain. Surprise, surprise, Miss Goody Two Shoes. Yeah, so I guess that was kind of the most extracurricular thing. And so part of school captain, I organised what was our year 12 muck-up week. So for our school, that last week of year 12, we dedicated the whole week to activities and fun. So every day was a different theme, so I had to organise that. So we had like character day, and then we had Wolf of Wall Street, through the decades and then zombie apocalypse. And then part of that, we had a different activity every day. So helped organize that. So we had an eating competition, a teacher versus student relay, whole school dodgeball. And then on the very last day, we had a water fight with jumping castles and stuff like that. So I had to organize that plus all the fundraising to go with that. So I guess, yeah, that's the most extracurricular I did.
That's intense. Like that would have been so much admin to do, especially like in VC.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like doing your 12 VC and organizing that and all the fundraising.
Wow.
It was a lot. So I had there was one other school captain and 2 vice who helped me, but it was mainly like my friendship group. Yeah, we tried to organize all of that. So it was a lot.
Did it work out really well?
Sorry, Mr.
Was it a big cohort of year 12 though?
Yeah, there was about 200.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was a lot. I mean, we were the only school in the area, so everyone has to go to us.
Hey, that that attests to your skills right now as in admin and as a teacher. So kudos to you. Like you already developed a lot of your admin and organizational skills back then.
Yeah, thanks.
Ooh.
Yeah, it did go really well though. Yeah, everyone dressed up. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, we still me and my friends still talk about it now and the costumes that we had because it was just such a big thing at my school. Growing up and going through the year levels and seeing that week every year of the year 12s just walking around in random costumes for a whole week. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been so fun. Well, Mr. Learn, did you have anything to do for your muck-up day when you were in year 12?
Okay, so the year before us kind of ruined muck-up day for us, but not our school. There were some other schools, and of course, I'm not going to name those schools, but there were some other schools that recently were during that time were in the news for going over the top, actually vandalizing the public, and so police had to come in to do talks to all schools. I mean, so we were quite mild. I mean, we had a muck-up day. I wouldn't say week. Yeah, it was like a muck-up day. We dressed up, and our formal was on the same day. That's the problem. So our high school, for some reason, they always put our last day of year 12 with the formal at the same time. So it was quite rushed. What are some things I remember? Our school's equivalent of the Agora. I remember some year 12s bought online 5 tubs of just bouncy balls, and they just went rolled them all, and the whole Agora, and that's just the bouncy balls bouncing everywhere. People just dressed up, took a lot of photos. Yeah. How about you, Mr. Young?
Oh, okay. I feel like a lot of year 12s do this, but we had a lot of students swap or reverse their uniforms. So the guys would swap their uniforms with the girls, of course, and then vice versa. So that was part of the muck-up day. We had sumo suits booked in. So those big sumo suits that kind of fill you out. We had that, and everyone got to wrestle back when you could be within 1.5 meters of everyone. And then we had bouncing castle, kind of converted part of our oval to a slip and slide. So we just filled it with water, and then everyone just ran and tried to slide as far as possible. And then for our school, tradition was basically everyone had to grab bubble bath bombs, and we'd chuck it into our fountains. So we had I think it was 2 fountains or 1 fountain, and then so we unloaded all of the bubble bath stuff into it, and then so by the time everyone got to school, everything would be covered in bubbles. So yeah, that was fun.
Oh man.
Yeah, memories, good memories.
Did your school captains organize that type of stuff, Mr. Young, or was it just people just in general?
I think it would have been a combination of school captains and the year 12 teachers, but definitely not to the level that Miss Reid has gone to, where she organized mostly everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely an ordeal trying to, like, it's not just the week, it was like all the fundraising before that to get everything. Yeah.
Man, that would have been so intense. I could not imagine doing that.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I had a lot of support from like my year 12 teachers, which was really good. But yeah, it was a lot to try and organize so much stuff and do year 12.
Yeah. Well, talking about year 12, was there a subject that you liked the most or favorite subject?
Ooh. Literature was definitely my favorite. I think that's evident now. I'm an English teacher. But also, like, I just had like an amazing class. Just like one of those classes where like you all talk and it's just like everyone gets along, and then like the teacher, which is just incredible. Like not just at teaching, but like just she was just like one of those really good year 12 teachers that you can just get along with and like is helping you with not just the subject. So I think all of that just made it really good. I can see you nodding, Mr. Myung. Did you like it as well?
No, I didn't do literature, but I do enjoy those classes where you have that teacher that is good at teaching you for one, but then also is just chill and helps you with everything. I feel like that is the dream teacher I want to be in the future. So yeah, like I feel like I really understand what you're talking about with your literature teacher as well. How about you, Mr. L?
Yeah, my favorite class in high school was literature as well, actually. Just because the teacher, same thing. It's like, I guess when you're at a certain maturity and the teacher knows they can trust you with that maturity, and that's when the teacher can actually genuinely spend a lot of time actually developing you and actually getting to know you as a person as well. So, like, I remember my literature teacher, she was definitely my favorite high school teacher, and I still keep in contact with her. And yeah, it was like in the morning, she would like, I remember even we used to have period zeros as well. So it's like you come in at 8 for the first class, and she would bring us like hot drinks as well, decide that we can make for ourselves as we go in our study groups. So yeah, literature was always my favorite. But unlike Miss Reid, where because literature was a favorite, then she decided to become an English teacher. Of course, my Asian parents, they always wanted me to pursue maths. And contrary to all modern views of what an Asian should be, I'm actually bad at maths, and I feel like I'm not that great at science. But I love history and I love literature. Those are actually my favorite two subjects in high school. And so, but I feel like because I was so bad at maths, that's why I ended up being able to teach it really well, because I can break down the concepts a lot because I needed to for myself. And so, yeah, I guess that's why I ended up teaching maths and science. Yeah.
See, I was actually the same, Mr. Al. My parents didn't want me to study literature or English. I actually entered VCE with the expectation that I was going to be a doctor.
Wow.
My parents sat me down and said, you're going to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. Like, they're your options. So yeah, I started VCE with bio, chem, methods, further, like everything. And then it wasn't until halfway through year 11, maybe year 12, that I was like, what am I doing? Like, this isn't me. Yeah, and that's when I swapped over to lit and English and history and stuff, which were, more my passions.
And I think that's really important for us as well. Like as we're becoming adults, so like going through the all of high school, I feel like we can accept our parents' expectations. Like we can accept it, but then we need to find what fits us as a person the best. So it's like, yeah, your parents can have expectations of you, but then the most important thing that I feel that is, or let me just get my words in order. The thing I feel is most important is that you have to enjoy what you're studying. There's no point if you don't really enjoy it. It just clashes with you. So yeah, I really agree with that mindset, I think. So with all of that, we talked about our favorite subjects, and then we also kind of talked about how we really liked our teachers, like being chill and allowing us to discuss things. Mr. L and I last week talked about what made us want to be a teacher. So, Miss Reid, what is your reasoning for wanting to become a teacher?
Okay, so springboarding off what I just said, you know, interview, VC, doctor, like whatever. And then I switched over to English and stuff, and there was still that expectation of me from my parents to be something, whatever, like great or whatever, because I was such an academic kid. So I actually entered university doing a journalist course. Yeah. So it's still a Bachelor of Arts, but I was majoring in media and communications, as well as English. And then as my side job, I was doing tutoring. So I'm doing like my course, and I really did not like it. I was like, do I really want to do this? Am I really going to get what I want out of it? Like, is this for me, kind of thing? And teaching was always in the back of my mind as my backup. It was like, oh, I'll be a doctor, but I'll fall back on teaching if like I don't like it. I'll be a journalist, I'll fall back on teaching if I don't like it. And I was having like, I just love tutoring kids, and especially like the ones who are really struggling, and you get like, I think Mr. Jung and I, we've talked about like that aha moment, like when they finally get it and how satisfying it is to have that difference. And so yeah, I was like first year in my university course tutoring, and I was just like, what am I doing? Like, I love tutoring, I love teaching, like this is what I need to do. And so I swapped out, decided like I'll do the Masters of Teaching, and I swapped out of media and into ancient history, so I could be an English history teacher. And yeah, that was it. I think it was just this final realization of like, this is what I love, this is what I'm meant to do.
Yeah, that's always like super important. Just enjoying what you're doing, and then like I feel like sometimes we can struggle to find something that we really enjoy with, but like at the end of the day, it's going to be something that naturally comes to us. And so yeah, I'm really glad that we're all kind of in this whole teaching experience together, since it feels like we really do enjoy what we're doing, and that's really fun. So on that, if you could choose any subject you would teach, you don't need to have like any credentials or anything, you don't have to worry about admin, what would be a subject you would teach?
Oh, yeah, I actually have I have three, just
Okay.
because I'm fussy. So the first one would be lit. I feel like obviously. My second one would be ancient history at BCE level. I know Cranbourne East doesn't currently offer it. It's quite a new version of the history curriculum, but like I said, ancient history is my major, and I love ancient Greece. So I'd love that. And thirdly would actually be maths, further maths. Yeah, I really, really love math.
Yeah.
As nerdy as that sounds, but I really like it, and I would love to teach it.
Well, I kind of relate to that, because back in my high school days in BC, I think methods was my favorite subject out of everything I learned, mainly because I knew what was happening. So yeah, I feel like that was mine. Mr. L, what would your subject of choice to teach be?
I like teaching English, I guess, and literature, kind of like Miss Reid. But the problem with that is I don't know how I can stand reading so many essays, right? Because it's like when I taught maths, right, it was like, okay, working outs here, answers here. Handwriting can be a little bit bad, but kind of see it. But then when you teach English, right, it's like there's no easy way around it. You literally have to read the full essays. I don't know if I could do that. Uh, what would I try? I wouldn't mind teaching music, actually. So I do play musical instruments. So I do play bass guitar, which is more rock, and I also play violin, which is more classical. So I wouldn't mind teaching a music class, and I also maybe wouldn't mind teaching Mandarin a little bit as well, I guess. But yeah, I think only to a school where Mandarin isn't very high, then I wouldn't mind teaching it. If I teach somewhere where the Mandarin levels are really high, they don't need me as a teacher. So I don't know. I think because it's kind of like what you two both said about the aha moment, because I find that with subjects that students know less about, right, then it's easier to hit aha moments. And that's why I also like teaching. So yeah, I think that's what I would choose. How about you, Mr. Young?
Oh, okay. So I think I've mentioned this to both of you, and I've talked to you, Mr. L, about it. Oh, well, that's one. That's one. But the first one I was thinking about is if I can safely teach it, probably food tech. So again, like one of my hobbies is baking and cooking a lot. So food tech, I feel like would be something pretty fun to just be able to do. If I finish work and I just have some baked goods to share around, it'd be fun. Otherwise, as Mr. L was showing, I would love to actually teach a science-based gym class, I guess. So like if we could if there was a class that where we could kind of do some strength training and then learn some of the sciences behind that, that'd be something that I could definitely get into. So yeah, at the end of the day, I feel like being able to teach theory is fine at times, but a lot of my interests would be teaching skills to students, I think. So I can say stuff that's like kind of interesting based on what I know, but if I can teach skills to students, the aha moment is also something that's like more easily achieved, I think. And yeah, I feel like that's it. Is there another one? No, I think I've hit all my bases with like baking and then gym. So yeah, that would be it. Let's see. Okay, so I don't know about you two, but during my lunch times, like I kind of just get up to a lot of stuff. What? Like during as a high school student, like sometimes I'll be practicing music or I'll be just walking around the school with my friends chatting. What did you guys get up to during your school lunch times? I'll start with Mr. L.
Um, I think I can clearly remember it broken into three. So year 7, 8, I did one thing at lunch, year 9, 10, and then 11, 12. 7, 8, of course, is so far back. It would have involved probably playing soccer quite a lot. Didn't have too many friends. And then at 9, 10, I had even less friends. I only had like one or two really, really close friends. So it was, I didn't really like the large group type of approach. It was more of one or two close friends, and we would literally sit by this next to this portable and we'd just chat. And I remember that was it. And then at 11 and 12, those were the days. Those were the best. Kind of like what you said, Mr. Young. Our school's music room would open up. And so I would actually catch up with mates in there. We'd just choose popular songs. We'd just jam and just choose those songs. So at year 10, that was, I guess, when I started learning bass as well, because I started learning violin in year 7. And it's quite hard to make a song sound nice with just a violin and piano, or like you need more stuff, right? So another instrument, which means more options as well. So yeah, I remember playing music quite a bit with some of my really closest friends, and those are the ones I still catch up with today, actually. Yeah. How about you, Miss Reid?
So I think mine's almost the same. I can split it into kind of three. So year 7 and 8, 9 and 10, and VCE. So 7 and 8, I remember I was friends with like a group of girls, and we just used to like sit in this area and chat. And then in year 9 and 10, I had a big friendship group swap. And I used to do just like a bunch of different things in year 9 and 8. So like play soccer, sit and chill with this new group of people. I don't know, walk around the school and just talk. But yeah, I became really close friends with those people I met in year 9 and 10. And so then in VCE, year 11 and 12, we actually started playing a lot of down ball, particularly the particularly the boys. So there was, I feel like there was maybe 10 of us, there was 3 girls, so it was me and 2 others, and then 7 boys. And so us girls would generally sit on the side and talk, and sometimes we'd play because the boys just got so competitive. It was like, it was ridiculous. Like they started piffing the ball at each other and like chasing each other around when they'd lose. And so sometimes I'd play, but then when they got like that, I'd just sit and watch and just like laugh at them because they were just so ridiculous. But yeah, I'm actually still really good friends with them. Like one of them is my housemate. So yeah, that's about it. What about you, Mr. Jung?
Oh, okay. So kind of got a bit nerdy in my VCE levels, mainly because one, sometimes my friends would be busy, so that would mean that I'd had no one to chill with, so I'd just like grab my lunch and then just practice playing the piano. Then other times they'd be rehearsing in ensembles during lunchtime, and so that was where I'd just like sit in and just listen to them practice, and then would just like chat, and then like we'd kind of banter around, just kind of I guess making comments about how bad each other were, like for fun, if you know what I mean. And then yeah, otherwise it was just like chilling around in the VC common room. So a lot of my friends, like what we discussed in a previous episode, started playing quite a few card games during lunch. So that was where I got to watch some Pokemon or Magic the Gathering unfold. And so yeah, it was kind of like a chill lunchtime for me. A lot of it was just like either music or it was just playing games with friends.
That's cool.
Yeah. So on the note of entertainment, Miss Reid, is there a show you've been watching or a movie that you've been watching that you would recommend to anyone?
I've honestly been thinking so hard about this, and I have no idea because I flick between shows so often. I would say probably just based on like my favorite 2 shows, watch Game of Thrones, except for the last season because that's absolutely terrible. But yeah, I love Game of Thrones. And then I'm actually re-watching now with my partner Breaking Bad. So we've both watched it before and we're now re-watching it. Yeah, so they're probably my top 2. Yeah, I can't think of any movies. Like I just watch so much stuff. I don't know. Actually, no, one more. I'm really into this doco series called Explained on Netflix. They're only like 20-minute episodes and they get like really famous people in to just explain kind of complex topics. And they're so short and so well explained. They're so good. It's so nerdy to say. But I've actually just recently watched the one on the US election and how their voting system works. And it's narrated by Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah, and it's really good. It just absolutely blew my mind about how America works, especially coming up with Trump and Biden. Yeah, so I would recommend that if you're interested. Like there's a whole bunch of different things like computing and like just how diamonds have become like so expensive. Yeah, just lots of random things. So I'm sure there's something out there that people are interested in.
Yeah. That I'm actually really interested in following the Explain series that you just talked about. Kind of reminds me of some YouTube videos I used to watch. So probably going to be like a massive upgrade. But I found it kind of funny that you mentioned Game of Thrones season 4, mainly because I don't think a lot of people know, but Miss Reid and I worked as student teachers at Cranbourne Secondary College during like when season 4 came out. And I was actually Mr. Leung's student teacher. And I remember being in that staff room, and all that happened was basically everyone in the staff room were getting so angry about how season 4 was unfolding. And it was actually the best thing to talk about.
I remember with the other student teacher that we were with, she really liked it. I don't know if you remember this, Mr. Jung. And I was just having like such an argument with her, being like, how can you like it? There's no storytelling. There's no like character development.
They've just like, they basically just took the series and threw it in the bin with that season, in my opinion. They're like, yep, it's done.
Yeah, literally, they were like, oh, here's Daenerys, and here's how she goes crazy in the span of like 2 episodes. There's her character development done. She's now crazy.
Exactly. Mr. L, did you have a show as well to recommend?
I'll probably go along the lines of similar to Miss Reid. I'll choose a show on Netflix, and this one is also like a show that explains something. It's a documentary, 1 episode, 1 hour maybe. It's called The Social Dilemma. I would highly recommend everyone to give it a watch because, everyone is all using social media these days. And the thing is, with social media, like, I think we need to be aware of what's happening with our social media. Like, for example, um, let's say you have an Instagram account, right? Do you actually know that Instagram actually is allowed to go into your photos and use these photos for like their own purposes, for example? Because we never really read the terms and conditions, right? So they talk about, oh, this is why companies take your information. It's not like because you're anything. It's like, why would Facebook want to take Mr. Young's information or Miss Reid's information? It's not because they're celebrities, right? It's not like if they sell it to any other country, it's gonna be worth anything, but it's all because they want to almost build like a virtual version of you. So they can see, for example, oh, Mr. Young spent 15 minutes looking at weightlifting videos and then 30 minutes at baking videos. And then so they create this almost like a virtual version of Mr. Young. And they know, all right, then I should probably advertise this to him, this to him, this to him, and this to him. And same thing for Miss Reid. So they can actually track how long you're looking at a particular post, and then they calculate all this stuff. So it's pretty interesting. Yeah, that's for me. Yeah.
That's definitely on my watch list, Mr. L. I
Mm.
remember last year this actually confronted me because I don't know if you guys know, but I was in Europe for 4 months last year doing a bunch of different little tours. And every time I uploaded a photo, I'd hashtag, Top Deck tours or whatever. And then I started noticing Top Deck was using my photos as their advertising. And I was like, what? Like, how can they do this? This is my photo, my property. And yeah, it was all part of that terms and conditions. I'd put myself out there, I'd tag them in it. And so it was like, yeah, I'd given them permission to use it for free. So yeah, that's definitely on my watch list. Just, yeah.
Yeah, like it can be definitely scary, but like it's good that I feel like it's good that Netflix is starting to, well, not starting to, but has these collection of films or shows that kind of tell you how things really do work, like with Explained, and then that whole like online identity whole scenario. I feel like having those resources up on a popular, I guess, channel is really important for us nowadays, especially as we start to move into something that's more digital and just we're in a scenario where we need to start to know a little bit more just to make sure that we do have our opinions in order. But yeah, I guess mine is a little bit different from both of yours. It's still on Netflix, but on a less serious note, I've kind of got into that Halloween vibe and I've started watching Sabrina.
Like the new one?
Yeah, the new one. So I know that season 4, or sorry, rewatch. I know that season 4 comes out on December 31st. So yeah, I'm like slowly going to rewatch everything just to get myself ready for that film. But otherwise, I feel like we're going like a little bit over time. So on that note, it was really great chatting to all of you. Tune in again next week for more interviews. We'll see if we can get any more staff members in. Complete the surveys at the bottom of each episode just to let us know if you have anyone you want to be featured on our shows. And otherwise, if you want to shout a particular teacher or student out, let us know as well. So on that note, thanks for tuning in, everyone. See ya.
Bye, Thank you, Mr. Young. Thanks, Mr. L, for having me.
Thanks,
Thank
Christine, for
you.
joining in.